Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Let's see the presentation coming up. My name is Hagai. I'm the CEO of Autotalks, and I'll talk to you about how cars are going to talk to each other in the future. And when we say talking is all about preventing accidents. So let me start with explaining the three main pillars or benefits of why cars talk to each other. By the way, V2X, or what we call V2X, is vehicle to everything, which means how cars communicate, but this time the end goal or the applications is about preventing accidents. So the first big importance is it's the only non-line of sight sensor. So no matter what you do with existing sensors today, like cameras, like LiDARs, like radars, which would play also a key role, you don't see what happens around corners. You don't see what happens across hills. You don't see when you want to bypass. All those, I call it non-line of sight accidents, are typically the most critical and the ones with most fatalities. So V2X is all about allowing you to have a non-line of sight sensor so I can see around corners. So that's one key value. The other one is what we call cooperative safety. So one car in the future, maybe I have a new car, okay, or maybe you are driving a BMW Series 7 with a lot of sensors, but I'm driving an old car, and that car does not have any sensors at all. I would like to understand what you are seeing, so we call it cooperative sensing, or what we call in the future allowing us to share our sensors with other vehicles. So when your car sees a pedestrian in this case, or when it sees a motorcycle or a cyclist, it can inform other vehicles about its presence. Or when it sees danger, I can inform you and I can let you know what's going to happen to you maybe 300-400 meters ahead of you before you actually reach this dangerous situation. So this ecosystem allows us now to cooperate together, to share sensors, to share object detections, and in the future create an environment where I can prevent accidents actually without even seeing it with my own sensors. And that's a second biggest value. And the third one, not less important, is what we call coordination, maneuvering. So in the future, when we are occupying roads today, it's very difficult to understand what others are planning to do. Am I going to go out of the highway? Do I want to merge? Okay, we can actually platoon together. We can coordinate movements. So all those things allow a huge amount of efficiencies. Many of the things, or many of the traffic jams that you see today are what we call phantom traffic jams. They are created because of inefficiencies. So imagine how ants are moving. They move in swarms. How birds fly. They fly in groups. They are all coordinated. The only thing which is not coordinated are cars on roads. So then we have chaos. And so V2X, or communication between vehicles, allow you to coordinate actions, to start driving together in a traffic light, to stop together. All that is the third kind of main pillar for the technology. Some key players in the industry that are already planning to implement V2X. So we see many of the car companies' names here. We are active with many of them. It's going to actually roll out as early as 2019 or later this year. And we see a mass rollout starting at late 21, beginning of 22. So when we roll into the future, which is not too far ahead of us, we'll actually have an environment where everything is connected to everything. But this time, it's not for the sake of entertainment like you would have in cars today. Your cars are already connected. But this time, the connectivity is to prevent accidents. So imagine what happened to crowd, to sharing, to social when we were all getting connected. iPhones, smartphones would not be possible if there were no networks. Here we are talking about an ad hoc network that connects to each other in a geographical area directly. So V2X is about direct connectivity between occupants of the road. So once you have that, we'll have many, many other applications and use cases to ride on top and prevent accident. And that's another huge value. So all those mass market players, actually the market is starting from mass market players. It's not starting from niche players. Okay, why? Because penetration effect is critical. Once there is a critical mass of penetration, the value increases exponentially. So if it's Toyota, VW, Renault, Ford, many others are actually planning to deploy those solutions in the future. Some examples of the key values of why V2X is actually a different type of sensor. So you see at the upper part, you see the bad weather conditions. We can all expect cars. We want cars to actually behave correctly also in bad weather conditions. it's not easy for an autonomous car to understand what's going on around it when it's heavy fog. What happened to cameras? So our eyes are actually great eyes. Our sensors are great sensors. We want to have better sensors than human being. And that's why communication allows you to see around corners, to detect small objects, not be blindfolded by sunset or sundown, and not be affected in general by bad weather. And that's why it complements other sensors. So we are believing in an environment where you have sensor fusion. So we'll have a different type of sensors, but the most simple sensor is actually a communication sensor. And then you can mount it on an e-bike or a motorbike or a pedestrian, smartwatches. So once you are walking at the side of the road at night, cars that approach you can actually understand that you are there, even without seeing you. So the value of V2X is an ecosystem of connectivity between cars and everything else that uses roads. Some key examples of use cases that are happening globally. You can always ask me about penetration. So what happens if there is no penetration? So I want to talk to someone, but there is no one else at the other side. So here's an example for actually live rollout of Toyota in Japan, in Tokyo, where the technology was mounted in traffic lights with cameras. Camera with object detections understands hazards. People violating red light, people violating stoplight, pedestrians crossing. So once I'm a driver equipped with this technology, the intersection communicates with me and tells me what's happening in the intersection. They've seen a 40%, they measured, a 40% reduction in accidents in those intersections as a result of implementing this technology over 100 to 200,000 vehicles in Japan. So the reality is that it's not just theoretical, the reality is actually working in the field. And again, most accidents, most severe accidents actually happen in intersections. So again, a 40% reduction, imagine that, preventing all those fatalities happening in intersections. So that's a live deployment. There is a debate in the market as a V2X player. There is a debate in the market. If you Google V2X, you'll see two competing technologies. What we have done recently as a company as of end of last year, we implemented a solution that does both technology in one chipset. What we provide are, just to mention, chipsets. We provide the silicon, the chipset solution that actually implements this V2X technology in all its layers. So we support both the 5G related standards or the Wi-Fi DSRC related standards in one silicon. Allows you to do a global solution that addresses all market with one silicon. So that's what we do. Top right is we do a chipset. We are what we call a fabless company. You'll hear also in this other sessions in Israel or in general, chip companies or silicon companies, they manufacture with partners. So we provide the chipset that supports all those different layers of security. It supports both protocols, a very large ecosystem that works with us. We already have live accounts, live tier ones working with our solutions globally in Japan, US, Europe, etc., and a very large ecosystem that supports it. And it's the only one that actually supports one global standard, which means we support both what we call maybe European, US-related standards, Chinese-related standards. They all might be a bit different. And you want one solution because most of the car OEMs are actually global OEMs, okay, and they are selling in all geographies. So that's part of the ecosystem, 10 tier ones, as you see, named here. Names of public PRs, Valeo, Harman, Hyundai Mobis, Bosch, Denso, all our customers and all our public announcements that they've made over the past year about partnerships with our solution into the V2X domain. So that's just the public ones. A few milestones for the company. So we've been around for 10 years in automotive. The good side is that once you're in, you have a huge business, but it takes time to go into this market. You have to be consistent. You have to be with the right passion. With relating to the previous speaker, we've been around for a long time to understand this market, and we started back in 2009. In April 16, we were awarded by Denso, a very large tier one in Japan. Investments from both Hyundai and Toyota as key investors in the company. And recently, we also have a mass market production win. So we have a very large production win going for rollout in Europe. Actually, it's a very large German OEM. So we're actually already now taking the company to the next level, which means very large revenues starting at the end of 21, beginning of 22. So that's a key milestone for the company as well. Just to mention, we also work with Mura. Okay, we also are very much in this, like to give back to society, so we donate some of our options back to Tmura, which later on enjoys that once we have exit for the company. So Tmura is also, we are also partners to Tmura. So these are key milestones, and just to mention, last slide is we're always being asked, okay, how do you go out into market and fight big companies like NXP, like Qualcomm, like Huawei, big corporates. So what we bring to the table is value. Okay, eventually, when we are partnering with OEMs and tier ones, we need to be different. We need to be much better than them. And this is a short summary of the value or the differentiation of the solution. Very much a huge amount of investment in cybersecurity. So V2X is all about cyber-secure connections. Your smartphones are not safe, are not secure. Nothing happened. Worst case, they get hacked. A car, if the communication with the car, which is used as a safety sensor, is hacked, that's a big catastrophe. I can fool around, I can create accidents. So cybersecurity is a key element of the solution. We also invest in AI, machine learning on top of the V2X radio, automotive-grade solution, and of course a global platform, which means that one platform can actually support a global deployment, whether this is Chinese, European, or US. So that's in general how we go to market with our solution. Of course, an automotive-grade solution. Others come with consumer-related products. And that's it. Time is up.